Okay. I'm going to use the restroom. You're going to watch this while I do emails. This lady is insane.
You are no...
So to be clear... Okay, hold on. Let me explain something, okay? When you do the criminal court process, okay? When you go through the criminal court process, after... Now, this might change a little state by state, but I think this is generally true. After you are convicted by a jury, there are other things that can happen. For instance, I believe we saw this with, I don't remember who it was, the guy that was on like Friends or That 70s Show or whatever that was accused of. You can have like, I think, impact statements by victims. You can have statements by friends and family to ask for leniency or whatever for the judge. And the convicted themselves can, like, I believe they have, I don't know if they have a right to, or they have the ability at least to address the judge and say like, hey, listen, I understand I was convicted of these charges. I truly didn't mean it. I've understood the error of my ways. I'll never do anything like this again. You know, like it's basically the point is like I'm basically like pleading for, like, I know I fucked up. You know, I accept responsibility or whatever. Like, you know, I'm deferring to you, the judge. Obviously, you're going to sentence me or whatever. But it's like that's what you're supposed to be doing here. Okay, that's what you're supposed to be doing. I'm going to use a restroom real quick. Hold on 1 second. Oh, it's called Allocution. That might be it, yeah. 1 sec.
Steven. Bro, is he here? Destiny, it's $35. It's $35 to use the gym here. Can I use your gym? $35 for a day. I know you can hear me. Dude, I have body dysmorphia. If I can't use your gym, I'm literally going to spaz out today. Come on, man. Dude, I'm in the rain, bro.
Gym isn't free.
The what?
That gym isn't free. You'll have to pay for a day pass. It's like $10.
No, it's not. It's $35 fucking dollars for a day.
No, I'm talking about Steven's gym. The one at the apartment.
Oh, that's cheaper than $35 fucking dollars?
Yeah, but you have to buy a day pass.
I'll do that. Shit, I don't give. Do I just go to his house?
Well, you guys work that out. I was just letting you know.
Wait. You're answering me. Can I just go to his house and then just like, do I need like to show that I'm a resident?
No, you just say I'm a guest, and you just give him his apartment number, don't say it.
Which you're gonna give me privately, correct?
If Steven is okay with
What are we asking right now?
Steven, can I use your gym? It's like $35 to use Crunch Fitness here for a day.
They're going to charge you like $20 to use the gym here.
20 is cheaper than 35.
You can't even like get into the building and get into the gym and all that. I'd have to go walk with you, and you'd have to get a fucking day pass. And listen, just go do push-ups outside, okay? Calisthenics. Isn't that how the old days?
I'm on back day. I don't know how to do that without like equipment.
Isn't it relevant with you?
Dude, that guy is like, dude, you guys think he's so fucking smart. Dude, everyone keeps saying, just follow Riley. He's not smart. He doesn't know what to do either. He goes to Planet Fitness and just use the Smith machine.
I'm just saying, pick him up and put him down over and over again. Boom.
What? Pick what up? The fucking human shit on the fucking sheets?
Pick a relevant up. Pick him up. Deadlift him. Have him lay down on the ground. He weighs like 170. You can do it. I believe it. Go do some pull-ups. Back day. Boom. There you go.
I'm just gonna pay my 35. Whatever.
Good luck.
Fuck you.
Okay.
No hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. People respond to it.
No, wait, this isn't the right one. No, wait, fuck. Oh, wait, this was it. No, this is just like a minute and a half.
Ms. Peters, you have the right to address me before I impose any sentence upon.
This is, okay, remember, okay? This is after conviction, not after she's been arraigned, presented her charges, not after she's been accused or arrested, not after the trial is started. This is after she's been convicted. The jury has decided that she is guilty. The trial's over, okay? So
upon you. You do not have to address me, ma'am, and in fact, you retain the right to remain silent. And if you choose not to address me, I will not use your decision to not address me in any way against you. But if you do wish to address me, you can tell me as much or as little about you, this case, or anything else you think I need to know in order to impose my sentence properly in your mind. I would just ask that you stand when you address me.
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. May I take the podium?
Yes,
that
the lectern,
okay?
yes, you may.
Who is this Tina woman? So Tina Peters was convicted of I believe that she was breaking into the Pennsylvania voter registration database somehow, and she was passing this information off to, I think, conservative operatives because she thought that there was like voter fraud going on. So she was stealing this data and passing it off to Republicans. Basically, I think something like this. I'd have to read the form. It's basically something like that because she thought there was voter fraud because Trump said it. But or not. I'm sorry, not Pennsylvania. Colorado. If I said Pennsylvania, I misspoke.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's with a heavy heart that I hear.
When was this, Destiny? Now? Yeah, this was like last month. Yeah, nobody reports this. Nobody cares. Nobody cares when we're probably going to try to rig shit or fuck shit up. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck.
Thank you, Your Honor. It's with a heavy heart that I hear the vile accusations and the anger levied against me for what I did to serve the people of Mesa County. Maintaining my innocence is not disrespect for the law. I respect the jury verdict based on the evidence that they were allowed to hear. There's much that they weren't allowed to hear. I never intended a video of the trusted bill to be made public. I did not authorize it to be made public. I asked questions about Dominion violating election laws.
So remember, Dominion, all of that was a pure, fantastic lie from the Trump campaign. Lie through and through. Sidney Powell, that was all a lie. All of it, 100%.
One moment. Judge, I'm asking for probation. Since 2022, I've been on restriction, and now I have an ankle bracelet that I've been compliant with that.
Oh, are we doing something on the screen? Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, Your Honor.
I need to know that.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Thank
That's
you.
all right. Excuse me.
Judge, I've never lied to you. Can we zoom in on that, please?
Yeah.
Mr. Rubenstein accused me in court of recording on my iPad. I did not record on my iPad. This was the transcript of that. He says, I've now seen the screen, and indeed, it's recording. Then later, Rubenstein admitted he didn't know if I was recording or not. I have no idea if it was recording or not. In my eyes, Mr. Rubenstein lied to you, Judge, which resulted in me being seized and now wearing an ankle bracelet for contempt and lying to you.
The ankle bracelet is for your contempt or for your conviction in the obstruction case?
Well, all of those two cases were.
This is her closing? No. This might sound like a closing statement, but you would be completely wrong. This is her allocution. This is her basically trying to beg the judge to be lenient on her sentence. But it sounds kind of like a closing statement, almost like she thinks it's all bullshit. But don't worry, we're getting there. What sentence did she get? She hasn't gotten one yet.
Direct result of that day in court that the DA got up, interrupted a normal proceeding. I didn't interrupt the proceeding to get up and caused
So she has already been convicted? Yes, she's already been convicted. The jury has already declared her guilty.
a normal proceeding. I didn't interrupt the proceeding to get up and cause a big stir.
Oh, Judge Dunkelman found otherwise, but I guess we can just disagree on that. I understand what you're saying. Go ahead.
They kept the iPad for 15 months. They never searched it. And when my attorneys had it transferred to a lab, they said there was no recording ever on it. None of the 66 videos were deleted. You can go back down, or go up. No, go the other way. The report states, wait, so.
This was the video of her arrest 2 years ago.
Some new video at 5 shows the moments a Colorado elections official was detained and then apparently tried to kick a police officer. Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters was confronted by officers this week at a bagel shop in Grand Junction. Matt Morrow's at the live desk with that new video. Matt.
Erica, we just obtained the body camera video from one of the Grand Junction police officers involved in this incident. Let me tell you how it started. It was Tuesday morning in a bagel shop. They were called in because investigators with the district attorney's office say they were trying to serve a search warrant on Tina Peters to grab an iPad that they thought was in her possession. This is what happened next. It involves a couple charges of obstructing. Take a look right here. The officers walk in. They're trying to grab the iPad. They say they grab Peters by the bicep there to get her away from a man who may have the iPad. And that is when they say Peters started to resist them. So they proceeded to go ahead and place handcuffs on her right here. During this time, by the way, mind you, she is complaining that the handcuffs are tight and they are leaving marks on her. Now, at one point here, police say, and you kind of see it in the video, that she tried to kick a police officer. She did not connect with the officer herself, but ended up connecting with the officer's taser. They then take Tina Peters, the Mesa County clerk and recorder, outside, and then this interaction happened. Listen.
Oh no, let go of me. Go. It hurts. Let go of me. Get my
You're not it. You understand?
Stop it. What are you talking about? Get out of my pants.
I am conducting a search. If you move, you will find additional charges.
Find additional charges? This is like arrest without cause.
Now, police right there were telling her they were going to grab her keys, and they were searching her because they were going to arrest her. Again, district attorneys say they had a signed warrant to go ahead and get an iPad from Tina Peters. They say when she did not give it over, that's when they called police, and police...
There's a full body cam footage of it, but...
Didn't obstruct anything. You're hurting me. In your ear.
No, you need to
I'm not pulling against you. Let go of me.
stand up like an adult.
Shut up. What an asshole thing to say to me. What an ass thing to say to me.
They're the law enforcement. They're always going to win. That's your
Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Let go of me. You're hurting me.
I'm not hurting
You are hurting me.
Obstruction at the moment. Okay?
Here. Let go of me.
Ma'am, I don't care if you record, but can you just step back a little bit?
I can talk in your ear.
No, you need to
Just
step back, ma'am.
let go.
Let's walk over and clear the car.
Stop. You're hurting me.
Walk then.
You're hurting me. Damn it.
Okay, you're under arrest right now, okay?
You are hurting me.
Walk.
You're hurting me. Please.
Stand up and walk then.
You're hurting me. Let go of me. Let go of me.
But anyway, that's her.
Go up a little bit more, thank you. 66 recordings were extracted from the iPad. None of the 66 videos were deleted. None of the videos were recorded on February 7th, 2022. There was never any recording made, and my iPad proves it. I want to take a break here and address some of the accusations, the vile accusations that have been levied against me with such anger and vile. As a Christian woman and as a gentle person, basically, that stepped up to run for county clerk and recorder because we had 3.5-hour wait times from the prior, who is now the present clerk, who was the manager of elections, 3.5-hour wait times. I looked at that, Judge, as a business owner. I could have minded my own business. I could have stayed living a great life, my husband and I. But instead, I stood up and I said, I can fix that. My son said in his SEAL Team 6 paperwork before he died, I read it after he died, he said, describe your mother. He said, she fixes things. When I see something that needs to be fixed, that's good, I believe that everyone should do that. I ran for clerk and recorder, and I'll get into that part in just a moment, but I'm very taken back by how awful I've been depicted when I was just trying to do my job, the people expected me to do. When I look at the people that have spoken here today and asking for harsh sentences, I'm just appalled. I feel bad for them because I know, I've often said God doesn't like people messing with his kids, and I believe I'm a child of God, and I believe that it was important for someone to stand up, and I chose to do that. As far as Gerald Wood and Wendy Wood, I think during the trial, the text messages that were presented, when at first Gerald Wood said, he said that, yes, I used the name Trebuchet. Yes, that's my phone number. His picture was on there. And then when and the date, which was May 14th, I believe. And then when he started reading that it said, I'm your guy, meaning he was the guy that was going to stand in. He had agreed to stand in and use his identity to protect the identity of Conan Hayes, who had just busted by his efforts for the federal government
People are asking if trouble partner. He can't. This is a state charge.
Trafficking organization called Backpage. My son was involved in anti-human trafficking. He worked with, as a Navy SEAL, he worked with Texas Rangers, and that's what they did that nobody ever knew. And that's what I believe caused his death. But when he looked at those, when he changed his tune, after he was shown the proof that he was complicit, that he knew that he was stepping up to conceal the identity of Conan Hayes, to see him deny it now while we have proof in text from him that he admitted were his, and then all of a sudden had a case of amnesia. Here it is right here.
I don't know if I need to turn this on or not, but go ahead and hit
Can you
play.
make that bigger? Okay.
Are you-
So let's stop right there. Can we stop it? Tina, this is our guy. He says, that I am. And then I said, hi, guy. Nice to meet you. I'll call tomorrow. Is there a good time, early morning or afternoon for you? I have meetings, and I explained that. Okay, keep going. But this is Sharona Bishop saying, this is your guy. He gives me his phone number. He says, Fridays are generally quiet for me, if you can stop here. And that was May 13th. Feel free to call whenever's best for you. Awesome, will do. Then he says, I have my Mesa County employee badge now. Now, this is a man who never filled out an employment application. This is, stop right there. This is a man who never filled
What is she trying to prove? She's trying to like win her case after the conviction.
out an employment application, never went through the interview process, but now he has an employee badge. Don't you think that somebody like that would wonder? No. Okay.
Like this is this is every debate that I have where you show somebody like incontrovertible evidence and they're like, okay, but what about this? What about this? Like this is, it's happening right now. We're seeing that happen, but like in court, right? It's actually happening that like she's been convicted of a crime. She's like, well, I think I'm still right. I'm pretty sure I can still debate my way out of it. But it's the judge responds. It's good.
Okay, we're getting prepared. I think it would be good to bring in Sandy at this point to strategize before our guest comes. Who do you think that refers to? The guest comes. So right there, you can see, Your Honor, that Gerald Wood knew what his role in this was. As much as he, because of fear or whatever else, the prosecution...
Do you think she believes this or is she just brainwashed? I mean, I think she believes it because she's brainwashed, right? Yeah.
aimed at him.
Isn't she trying to get a better sentence? Okay, so to be fair, I am not a criminal. I'm not a criminal attorney. I don't know how criminal court works. I've never, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. But if I was to guess, my assumption would be that when you've been convicted, if you're trying to go for a lesser sentence, that you are prostrate before the judge, basically saying like, listen, I understand that what I've done is wrong in the eyes of the jury here. Like I did stupid things. I'll never do them again. I have regrets about this. I see the impact I've had on the family. Like the goal is to show that you understand, because ideally in a perfect world, and what the judges are supposed to view the system as is like, this is your punishment and this is your rehabilitation. And you need to understand that what you've done is a crime. You need to understand what you've done is wrong. And I feel like probably the very worst thing you could ever do when you're at your allocution is to basically talk about how actually I didn't do shit. Fuck this system. Y'all motherfuckers rigged this shit against me. I didn't do fuck all wrong. Fuck you. Eat shit. Die, bitch. That's like probably the worst thing you can do. Would be my guess.
To get to testify against me for his freedom and throw me under the bus. He says that the give, send, go. They talk about that I lied about that involvement. They talk about the give, send, go. That I've profited from this, Judge. That goes to pay my attorneys. I don't have the money of the Colorado Attorney General's office, who is represented here, who were sworn in to be prosecutors in this case and who conducted the trial. It takes a lot of money to fight the government. Cody Davis, when he got up. So during this time, when the ankle break, when the iPad, when I was accused of recording in your courtroom, just sitting right over there, which I did not do, the next day I'm at a commissioner's hearing. They see the iPad in my purse. We're sitting there. All of a sudden, 22 minutes they delayed the commissioner's hearing in order to go get a search warrant for the iPad they saw in my purse. Unwitting, people sitting there with me. We waited. Then we said our grievances or our what we wanted to say to the...
Like, there's no chance that, I don't know what she is even thinking is possible. The judge is just going to throw out the conviction. I think theoretically in some states that might be possible. But can a judge throw out a conviction? Under Rule 3.190, a motion to dismiss can be filed for a multitude. Conviction. A judge can dismiss a case if they find the charge has no legal basis and the defendant's right. This is not a conviction, though. This is pretrial. overturning a jury verdict. A judge can overturn a jury verdict with sufficient evidence to support it. The judge believes the jury was excessive. I know that you can, I think a judge can decide that they don't like the sentence from a jury, but I don't know if they can just throw out a conviction. I'm not sure. But they might be able to. I'm not sure. She's asking for probation, so no jail time despite being guilty. Yeah, sure, I understand. But if you're asking for probation, then the probation ask should probably be, hey, like, I'm asking for probation because I understand what I've done is wrong. I'm an old lady. I'm like approaching the end of my life. Like, I will never do anything like this again. Like, that's your probation ask. It's not, I didn't do fuck all. Don't put me in the fucking slammer, bitch. All right, I'll fuck everybody up in here. Okay, I need to roam these streets. Trump needs me in 2024. Cuck.
To the commissioners, and then we left. We were followed 1 block away to Main Street Bagel, and that's when all hell broke loose. They came in, descended on it like it was a drug bust. Grabbed the iPad. I don't know what's happening. I grab it back, and then they totally caught me by surprise. And so, yes, I agree. I didn't react normally, or because this was not a normal situation. But during that commissioner's hearing, and we've had this enhanced, and we can hear it, during the time they took this break, Janet Rowland bends down and covers the microphone like this and says she won't want to come back here after this. And Cody Davis, that's sitting right back here, said, then you can hear it if you play back the recording, sacrificial lamb. He called me a sacrificial lamb. Cody Davis said $1.4 million. He talked about the salary for 16 months. I didn't want to be kicked out of my office. I would have gladly, I came in every single day during COVID. Every single day. So did my chief deputy. We worked. We didn't stay home like a lot of people did enjoying a vacation. We worked, and I figured out ways to make it so we still provided those services to the citizens of Mesa County. As a matter of fact, when I first took office, they said it couldn't be done. I couldn't lower those 3.5-hour wait times. And I'm the type of person that while somebody's saying something can't be done, I'm doing it. Like I said, my son says I fix things. Shortly after I was sworn in, 1 month later, I started opening the offices in Fruita for $150 a month. And then the Fruita office for a third of what had been paid before. I'd been negotiating that for 10 months before I even took office, being a former real estate broker and also being in the construction business. My staff.
One of the craziest things, I don't know how good a real estate broker or a construction person was, but like one of the things that's crazy about a lot of these brainwashed people is a lot of these brainwashed people like were very reputable before their crazy shit, right? Looking at Trump's cacophony of insane lunatic clown lawyers, right? Rudy Giuliani had the whole, attacking the mob and being the mayor of New York, and he had a good, prestigious record. Eastman, I think, was a decently intelligent constitutional lawyer. He breaks down exactly why that elector scheme they tried would have been incredibly illegal. He wrote a whole email about it before he got drafted into Trump's campaign. Sidney Powell was one of the youngest female prosecutors for a federal district court in the history of the United States. Like, it's just crazy that these people have like impressive track records and it's just fuck.
When I got there, they were making $14.65 an hour, Judge. I don't know how anybody lives off of that these days. And they've been passed over for promotions. And, so when Scott McGinnis talks about the big turnover, I had people that would cuss customers out when I first got there, and they had to go. I gave them a chance, and they had to go. One was a veteran. And so, yes, there was some turnover, and then there were turnover that left because of the prior clerk. But when they say that I cost the county, when Cody Davis says I cost the county, no, I didn't cost the county. I saved the county money. Scott McGinnis talked a lot about deception and high expectations that the county has for clerks. Talked about breaking the contract and things like that. Janet Rowland, the commissioner, and I had already been talking about that since January, about getting out of the Dominion contract, which only had 1 more year. She even admitted in an email, and we talked about it, that maybe they could pay off the rest of the contract and go ahead and bring in a clear ballot. I was ready just weeks before all hell broke loose for us to sign a contract with a different vendor. But it was interesting that, and Scott McGinnis said that I was not around, that I was AWOL, that I was on the run is how he said it. No, I called in every single day to my managers on FaceTime, on our conference calling every single day, talking to them about the program for the day, what we were going to do today, asking how their subordinates were doing, were there any problems, and solutions to whatever was going on. I was present every single day.
Well, you weren't physically present.
I was present. Where I was, Your Honor, I was, after all this broke, which was by no fault of my own when it broke, because that was not my intent. My intent was just to come out quietly. Let's see if there's a there there. If there's a there there, well, then we do something about it. If there's not, then we keep reassuring the people. I didn't believe there was fraud here. And I took people on tours of the office to reassure them.
So you weren't physically present?
I had been, I was.
And then when did you come back to be physically present to do the job?
One of the things that is I think that, honest to God, I think this is one of the scariest things because of how intentional it is like, because you see this happen in my debates. It happened a lot with Owen Schroyer. It happened with Palin and Piers. Is when you ask Trumples direct questions, they cannot answer the question. They was the peaceful transfer of power stopped on January 6th? It still went through. Okay. Was the peaceful transfer of power halted on January 6th? Donald Trump left office on January 20th. Okay. Was the peaceful transfer of power halted on January 6th? The military wasn't even there. Okay. Was the peaceful transfer of power halted on January 6th? The sky is blue. Okay. But like, you ask them direct questions, and you have to ask it over and over and over and over and over again. And it's like Trump went from speaking into the weave, and they're like thinking in the weave. There's like, can you not answer the fucking question?
You were elected.
Let me explain that.
Like, he's kind of done this. Like, were you there? You weren't actually there, right? You weren't there, right? Well, I was in communication. Were you there? You weren't there, right? Also, the judge is asking like rhetorically, like but they've already been through this whole case. This case is done, right? I know we're just watching this now and it seems like it's a new thing, but no, this case has already been done. They were months, years? I don't know how long in court. This has all been done.
I just want you to answer the question.
Okay, I was flown from North Dakota to, or South Dakota to Texas.
I'm not asking where you went or where you were. You physically.
You see, he's doing it, right? Can you object to a non-responsive answer? I don't know if that's like a formal rule of objection, but like it's non-responsive. You're not answering. You're not giving an answer to the question that I'm asking, right? And she's doing it, right? You weren't there, right? Well, I was flown. Hold on. You're not answering my question. I don't know what you're talking about right now. You're saying random shit.
North Dakota to, or South Dakota to Texas.
I'm not asking where you went or where you were. You physically weren't present.
1 month. 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
You were gone for 4 weeks.
But I was present every day. How did people exist during COVID, Your Honor? They didn't go into the offices every day. I did. They did it by video conferencing. That's how I was running my office, and that's perfectly acceptable. So I was flown to Texas for my safety. 1 week later, my hotel room was physically breached. It was broken into. After that time, I had 24/7 armed security. I was in a hotel room. The door across from me was propped open, and I had 24/7 armed security until the first report came out. When I brought the first report, September 16th, I believe it was, 16th or 17th, it might have been 17th, immediately we took 3 reports to the commissioners and 1 report to the DA. They did nothing. And while I was gone, there was people coming in trying to present evidence of what was being found. But all they wanted to know was, where's Tina Peters? All they wanted to know, they didn't want to know anything. And I saw Merrick Garland on, because I was tuned in. I was tuned in on my security, my security officer's computer, and I could see who was there. CNN. That was an open records violation law. That was the Sunshine Law violation. All the public should have been able to see that. But that's a whole other story, and I won't go there. What? When commissioners are meeting together, it's supposed to be an open meeting. This was a closed meeting, but there were other people there.
Merrick Garland was at a commissioners meeting?
No, on this Zoom meeting. I know it's hard to believe that this has gotten the attention across this nation because of what we've discovered. So Scott McGinnis said that they have not seen 1 fraudulent vote. But I would argue with that, because just because you don't acknowledge and you're blind to the truth, it doesn't mean that the truth is not there. Can you hand me that?
Do you deny that the hand count?
I'll get to that.
No,
yes,
I'm
sir.
just wondering.
No, I'll deny.
I love how I'll get there, okay? Just slow your roll, Judge. This is my allocution, not yours, okay? Just shut the fuck up. I'll get there, okay? I'm doing the talking here.
Do you deny that the hand count?
I'll get to that.
No,
yes,
I'm
sir.
just wondering.
No, I'll get to that.
Sure, I'm interested to hear.
So, Your Honor, on September 17th, well, this is dated 15th of September, I took one of these copies to every commissioner and to the DA. They did nothing. There is expert reports. There were 29,000 election records that you can see on here in orange that were deleted from the people's Mesa County election system when they compared the first image that was taken and the second image. Gone, deleted. The only record we have is the record that I have. So you wonder why, when Scott McGinnis says that there's never been any fraudulent vote count found, it's because they replaced the machines. They took the evidence out of Mesa County Dominion voting system and put new machines. And you know what I told the candidates that year? I said, they were running, a lot of good candidates were running for school board. I said, you don't have to worry about this election. They are not going to cheat during this election. So all that hand counting, all that stuff, I knew they weren't going to cheat. But we have the evidence that they did. Here's the other thing. February 28th, 2022, brought another report. You know what this report showed? There were 36 wireless devices. So when you hear Dr. Frank talk about wireless devices in these machines, they're there. As a matter of fact, now they now they admit that there's wireless devices. And Matt Crane with the Colorado County Clerks Association and the Secretary of State just says, well, just turn them off. I was never taught, none of the other clerks, I'm sure Dallas Schroeder can testify, were never told to turn off because these machines cannot be certified if they have wireless devices inside or have the capability. And then report number 3 came out after I was indicted. March 19th. Oh, by the way, back up. November, after I brought this report out, I was raided on November 16th by the FBI. November 17th, an attorney that is well known to the DA went into the nursing home and had my husband, who was a veteran with Parkinson's, sign a divorce decree. Not only did that take my husband, it took all my VA benefits. I found out a month later, 1 month before we would have been married 35 years, Your Honor. I'd taken care of that man for 35 years, and I actually went to save him, which I'll show you in just a moment. So report number 3 came out. You asked if there was, probably none of these people have even read these reports that I gave them. So report number 3, when that ballot goes in to the tabulation machine, we've already proven it in report number 3. There's a second database that's created. So there's an image. So when they say, well, we'll just count the images. Don't worry about the paper ballots. We'll just count the images. After ballots go in, there's a second fraudulent database that's created, and it's all documented in here. There's an image taken of that ballot, then the ballot is changed. And we know it's been changed because it's lacking the .sha file, and it goes through adjudication differently, like it's a completely different ballot. This is what report number 3 is. So when you ask, were there any fraudulent votes, they haven't read it. They don't know. All right, I'm going to move along.
Votes,
Sorry?
I'm not going to let you
Okay,
go
that's
on
fine.
about things that are completely irrelevant to this.
Okay, that's fine. I debate. These are the people I debate, right? Okay, that's fine, right? We had Twitter space with these people. You know that what you said was like not right. Okay, that's fine. So anyway, these are the people I debate. These are them.
I'm going to move along.
Votes,
Sorry?
I'm not going to let you
Okay,
go
that's
on
fine.
about things that are completely irrelevant to the
This is irrelevant.
No, it's not. I've let you go on enough about this, but the votes are the votes. You still didn't answer the question. If this is my ballot and I put it in the machine, whatever it tabulates is whatever it tabulates.
No, it doesn't. It changes.
You're not letting me finish.
Okay,
whatever
please.
it tabulates is whatever it tabulates. My hand vote, my ballot remains the same. They counted those ballots. Did they not?
I understand what you're saying,
Did
Your
they
Honor.
count the ballots?
No, the ballot images were changed, and that's what the total shows. Okay, I'll move off of this because I can see that I would encourage to read the report number 3.
I've read them.
I would encourage you to actually read, Judge, because you haven't done fuck all for this case. I know that you're back there gooning, okay, to some fucking OnlyFans girl. You're not reading shit. You should try reading the material sometimes. Dipshit, guy who is going to be in charge of the next decade of my life, by the way. I need you to fucking actually do your homework.
Okay, I'll move off of this because I can see that I would encourage to read the report number 3.
I've read them, ma'am.
You've read all of them?
I've read those reports. They were given to me at some point, I believe.
Good. Well, so you know what I'm saying is true. All right, let me move on.
Reports. They were given to me at some point, I believe.
Good. Well, so you know what I'm saying is true. All right, let me move on. It's not funny. My life is on the line here, Your Honor.
No, you're the one who's making this allegation that one,
It's
I think
not
is
an
funny, and
allegation.
2, that I know it's true. You're saying that as if I believe you, and I did not say that.
Okay.
That is why
All right.
I made the sound, because it's insulting to me for you to just put that in a record in front of all of these people that I believe something to be true.
Okay, and I apologize for that, Your Honor. That wasn't my intent. I do apologize for that. It gets a little fiery when your life is on the line, and I apologize. But I told the candidates they didn't have anything to fear because they had brand new machines that they'd taken out the bad ones, as the clerk alluded to. The truth does matter. The fact that Gerald Wood lied about his part in this is unforgivable. Cody Davis calling me a sacrificial lamb, and then what happened next, and we'll show that in just a moment. But Matt Crane's wife has worked for the voting system for 2 decades. Did you know that? Not many people know that she's worked for Dominion for 2 decades. So when he gets defensive about the voting machines, there's a reason. All right, let's go on to, so they kept my iPad.
Let's go on to the next thing.
Judge, I'm an honest person. I made a promise to conceal Conan's identity, yes, but I'm an honest person. And I have 50 letters here that prove from people that say, and we had many more letters, but these are 50 letters here from people that say I'm honest, plus the 5 that are in the pre-sentence investigation report. The first letter is from one of my doctors, Scott Rollins. Can you pull that up? Okay. I'll keep going while he pulls this up.
I have read the letter. I've read all of the letters.
Okay.
But yes, you can certainly reference them if you like.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you reading the letters. Can you get it? Okay. 50 letters here, plus the 5 that are in the pre-sentence investigation report. The first letter is from one of my doctors, Scott Rollins. I have health problems that would not be treatable in the Department of Corrections. First of all, I need a magnetic mattress. I've been on that since 1995. I was in 2 rear-end collisions in 84 and 2010. It was pretty severe. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit, and chronic fatigue as a result, and I had to stop working for the airlines in 1995. I was up all night because I was in bed all day. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't control these symptoms until I got, believe it or not, a magnetic mattress of which I still sleep on. I will not have that at the Department of Corrections. Also, I had lung cancer, and had surgery in 2016, 1 year before I ran for office and 1 year before my son died. They took out a third of my right lung, and as a result, I get short of breath. So I can't do a lot of strenuous physical activity. Okay. My first attorneys asked me to take a polygraph.
Has she done does she have chronic Lyme disease as well? Did we have that? I don't know if that was already mentioned, sorry.
As to why I created an image of the Mesa County server. And I said it was to preserve election records. And the polygraph showed that's true.
Page 2.
Page 2, please. If you've never been through a polygraph, it's a pretty strenuous test. Keep going. I know it's inadmissible. We're not in court right now. We're at my sentencing. Thank you for that.
Is that her lawyer giving her advice who just said that?
Page 2, please. If you've never been through a polygraph, it's a pretty strenuous test. Keep going. I know it's inadmissible. We're not in court right now. We're at my sentencing. Thank you for that, DA. Were you truthful? Wait, stop. Go down. Were you truthful? Keep going, please. Were you truthful when you told me you had the voting equipment data imaged because of obligation to preserve unaltered data? Answer, yes. Were you truthful when you told me you had voter equipment data imaged solely to uphold your obligation to preserve unaltered data? Yes. It was shown that I told the truth in every question they asked me. The government has accused me of profiting by them prosecuting me because they said I got free plane rides on Mike Lindell's plane and other bennies. But I reimbursed Mike Lindell for every plane ride I took on Mike Lindell's plane, and here's proof of it. And you can go down and show those. Okay. This right here, let's go back to when they came down on me for the iPad in the this is my wrist. Yes, Main Street Nagels. This is a picture of my left wrist, which happened when the officer who arrested me on February 8th, 2022, made the handcuffs too tight. And they also accused me of kicking a cop, which I didn't do because when they put the cuffs on too tight, they pulled me sideways on my left wrist and my right leg came up. And I've done this with numerous people to show them exactly how that's possible. And I'm going to just show you now. Just so I think that's funny. Did you hear that back there?
I didn't.
Okay. Somebody's back there laughing because I'm... Okay.
I'll take your word for it.
Thank you.
And I will admonish that, as I've done it before for everyone. But
Thank you.
I'm
I
just
appreciate
trying
that.
to get through this, so go ahead. In terms of
This is me.
remaining calm.
This is me and my mom 2 years ago. She's now 95. And lives in Virginia. And she needs me emotionally. And I want to be near her emotionally. And I talk to her and visit her. The last time I saw her was on Mother's Day. I arranged with the court to be able to go there. So that's another reason I would ask for probation, so I can be with my mom. She had a heart attack recently and has 3 aneurysms because the doctor says because of all the stress this is causing her. Here's my dad and me, oops, who died the day I was in jail, in the Mesa County Jail in the sheriff's office here. I found out the next day, I didn't get to be the one that said goodbye like the other people in my family. I found out the next day before court where the prosecution asked for a $500,000 cash bond. I don't even know murderers and drug dealers like the one that the DA prosecuted, that he gave probation with 26 pounds of fentanyl. And the reason I know that the DA prosecuted a man with 26 pounds of fentanyl, because my attorney at the time was representing both of us. That man got off on probation, and I have had to pay the price. For what? Influencing a public servant? Is that really that bad that it deserves me to be incarcerated? This is my late son, Remington Jordan Peters, walking off as he graduated as a Navy SEAL. I tragically lost him 9 years later at 27 years old while I was running for office of the clerk and recorder because I wanted to make a difference. I'm what any
How long do these statements usually take?
mother or father
I'm sure they could
never
probably
wants
take
to
a
be
while.
in that club.
It's an important time of your
Unless
life.
it could just be on the picture above. A Gold Star mom. I didn't even know what a Gold Star mom was until I became one. On November 2nd, 2021, I got an email from Zach Reams. And Mr. Reams explained he was resigning as the lawyer of me and my husband because the DA was investigating whether I had abused the power of attorney that I had for my husband, Tom. I had not abused that power of attorney. I always only did what my husband asked me to do. I would take my husband, after in 2021 that I could no longer lift him and take care of him because he would fall a lot. He went into the La Villa Grande, and that's where that vile man, attorney, went in and had him sign a divorce decree. Took him to Wells Fargo and had my husband draw out $4,000 to pay the attorney that he signed something. And he told me the day after I was raided by the FBI, he said, I think I did something wrong. And I said, honey, what do you think you did? He says, I don't know, but it was not good. He said, I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, call our attorneys. He didn't even know what he signed. The investigation, though, came to nothing. I loved my husband. I was married for 35 years and would never have done any harm to him. And I did for the video that I did. And here, I could talk to the constituents, and I said, don't we have somebody on staff?
We're here today for sentencing in Ms. Peters' case. Before I get into my comments, I'll enter judgment of conviction consistent with the jury's verdicts as to counts 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10.
She seems to be honestly not wanting to change the election, just prying. No, nothing in her case suggests the ability to change the results, just unauthorized access to data. I would have to go and dig. I haven't dug through the details of exactly what she was charged with. However, that doesn't matter. If you are trusted with data on this level and you are violating the responsibilities you have for your job, the responsibilities entrusted to you, if this is an elected position with public data, and you're doing so based on conspiratorial nonsense in a criminal manner, then fuck you. It doesn't matter if you're in good faith. People, you guys need to stop. You guys need to nothing in the world works like this. I don't know why you guys grant this level of charitability. I keep saying you guys. You don't grant this level of charitability to anybody. Well, he thought that, he thought this, so he was in good faith. Like he knew, no, you don't get to abuse your public office. You don't get to abuse your power. You don't get to break the law because you think you're doing it for a good reason when that good reason is built on conspiratorial fucking nonsense. That's not how this works.
As it relates to fines, fees, and costs, a $2,000 fine will be ordered as to counts 1, 2, 4, 6. As to counts 8, the maximum fine will be imposed. Counts 9 and 10, $1,000 fines will be imposed. You retain the right to ask me to reconsider any sentence I impose under Rule 35B. You have the right to appeal any sentence I impose if you want to end the judgments of conviction. If you wish to do that, you need to do it within 49 days of today's date. The protection orders will remain in place during the life of this sentence. Conditions 6 and 7 are vacated. However, you can ask your lawyer what that means. If you are ever sentenced or today sentenced through the Department of Corrections, then I'm required to inform you that the time I actually imposed or that may be imposed is not the amount of time you are likely to serve. It can be and very likely will be reduced by your accrual of good time and earned time credits within the department, meaning that the better you do in prison, the more programming you take advantage of, the sooner you'll be released. I want to circle back to the request from earlier today in terms of the motion for a new trial based on a Brady violation. To the extent I needed to make findings on that today, I'll note that 1, the motion could have been filed weeks ago. 2, the information generally was known to the defense prior to trial, perhaps not the specifics, but enough to have at least mustered some questioning of witnesses at trial. And 3, that a Brady violation is one that generally involves, almost exclusively involves, the withholding of exculpatory evidence that may be used by the defendant in a case. When looking at such a violation, the court looks at that type of evidence with through the lens of a defense attorney, not through a prosecutor, such that it's not the prosecutor's job to determine what is or isn't exculpatory. It's the defendant's job to make those decisions. Here, the argument is that back on, I believe, June 25th, Ms. Peters went to the clerk and recorder's, not office, but where the ballot box is located, some distance, I don't know if it's 100 feet or not, away from the actual physical office. She went there with at least one camera person. It looks like maybe someone else was also there with her. Apparently she was voting. She had some conversations, according to the affidavit that's been drafted for her arrest in that case, with election officials who would be employees of the clerk and recorder's office, which she was not allowed to have conversations with. Her presence was noted by Ms. Bance, one of the witnesses in this case, who alerted law enforcement, who then did the investigation that resulted in everything I just said being uncovered, and ultimately that warrant being drafted. The defense made some requests for that information. Once through the police department, it was denied. According to the defendant, because it was an ongoing investigation, the DA said that they didn't have anything, if I'm not mistaken, but that they would turn it over later when they got it. They didn't do so. It looks like the warrant was drafted well after the trial occurred. So it is well settled that for the purposes of discovery, evidence that could be used to impeach a witness, motivations, the like, would fall under a Brady type of requirement to be disclosed. But as I said earlier, there's quite literally nothing that's been provided to me that suggests anything in this arrest warrant, or that what Ms. Bance said, who was an important witness to the prosecution, would be construed objectively or even subjectively through the lens of a defense attorney as favorable or exculpatory to the defendant, particularly where there's video footage of the interaction that occurred between the defendant and the individuals who may have been employees of the clerk and recorder's office. So Ms. Bance's mere reporting of the same to law enforcement is what it is, and certainly in any event, to the extent there was exculpatory value to it, as the case law says, it was incredibly minimal and could not undermine the confidence in the verdict. I'll nevertheless let the people respond to it, and to the extent I might not be divested of jurisdiction to consider it, hold a hearing on the same if I find one is warranted after further briefing. I make that record, just to close that loop for the purposes of any appeal issue that might come up in the future.
The purposes of sentencing have been alluded to, particularly by the prosecution. I'm not going to repeat them all, but I say generally the same thing. That is, the purposes are statutory, and they include, but are not limited to, promoting the acceptance of responsibility. That doesn't mean that a defendant has to take responsibility. To the contrary, Ms. Peters has exercised her right to a jury trial. She's exercised her right to hold the people to their burden, and such cannot and will not be used by this court as a means by which, or justification by which, to punish her. But rather, the sentence itself is to promote the responsibility acceptance, not to ensure that someone takes responsibility, however, once they've chosen to exercise their right to go to trial. I consider deterrence in sentencing, that is, both general and specific, that the sentence I impose must deter Ms. Peters from engaging in similar conduct in the future, but it also must deter others generally from engaging in this type of conduct. I consider rehabilitation where appropriate. I consider punishment.
So he's talking about, like, these are the factors that I consider when I'm trying to sentence somebody for a determined amount of time, right?
Where appropriate. I also must ensure that the sentences I impose are consistent among offenders similarly situated, but I must also impose a sentence that is designed to meet Ms. Peters' unique needs. Here, the defense has, and Ms. Peters in particular, has remained quite defiant, which is her right, but certainly not helpful for her lot today. And in arguing why I should impose a particular sentence, she tells me about her ailments, her loss, her struggles in life. But in reality, for those of you who may have been here earlier this morning and seen some of the folks who've occupied that chair before Ms. Peters, there could be not much in the way of a comparison in terms of the type of sympathy one would extend to Ms. Peters. Those folks didn't have 4 lawyers representing them. They didn't have a team of assistants helping them. They're not getting rides in private jets all over the country. No, the people who sit in that chair suffer, generally speaking, immeasurable trauma in life, struggle mightily with alcohol abuse, substance abuse, mental health struggles, family loss. They come from broken homes. The cards they were dealt were never the cards that you were dealt, Ms. Peters. So when I hear you discuss your husband, who sadly passed away recently, your family struggles, and your son, who served our country admirably and made the ultimate sacrifice, I consider it. And I note, too, that he honored his oath to the country, something that is not lost on me when considering the circumstances under which you find yourself here. Your age, limited criminal history, and the like are certainly somewhat mitigating. Your ties to the community are what they are, but your reputation at this point is poor because of what you've done here and after. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could.
Oof. That's not something you want to hear. Yikes.
You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen. You don't have those histories of drug and alcohol abuse. There's no lifetime of trauma, not even close to the type of mitigating circumstances I would see from many folks who sit in that chair. No, to the contrary, Ms. Peters, you are a privileged person.
Remember that whole thing about the what do they call it? The rich kid affluenza, right? That affluenza stuff that everybody freaked the fuck out about. I'm pretty sure that was a statement at Allocution. But the idea when you're making the statements is like, listen, this kid, he's a rich kid. He comes from a background. He's just fucking retarded. He doesn't understand that he did this thing. Like if you ruin his life now, like this is not a criminal offendant, or this is not like he's not going to be a criminal for the rest of his life. This is not like a horrible person who's like on the streets doing crazy things. He made a mistake, right? That was part of their allocution, right? Coming from a bad background, having bad life circumstances, having, all these different things can be reasons why you say like, hey, listen, like I understand I fucked up, but remember this sentence for me is supposed to comport with your desire for things like rehabilitation, deterring other people or me from doing the crime again, and then to be aware of like the circumstances that I exist in. So when somebody's saying things like, yeah, like there's no reason for you to have committed these crimes, you would still do it all over again, right? There's no reason, so you have no mitigating factors that are helping you. You do it all again, you're still defiant, so you haven't learned anything, right? So the deterring needs to be really high. It's just
mitigating circumstances I would see from many folks who sit in that chair. No, to the contrary, Ms. Peters, you are a privileged person. You are as privileged as they come. And you use that privilege to obtain power, following, and fame. And to be sure, there's no doubt in my mind that that is exactly what you wanted, and it defies all sense of common sense to believe when you suggested to me a few moments ago that you didn't want this attention. No, you crave it, ma'am. And there is no one in this courtroom who would consider that to be anything other than the absolute truth. But to get to
what is the actual argument for not allowing possibility for parole? I do not understand why we should full out deny it for people when we believe in rehabilitation. Because she's defiant to the end. She doesn't believe she's even done anything wrong. She would go out and she would say these exact same things. He just said you're getting flown around the country in private jets and everything to come and speak about these bullshit conspiracy theories that are undermining our whole system.
To the point of what it is that you did here, it's my impression distinctly that you never took your job of clerking particularly seriously. You didn't complete the certification. Oof. One scandal after another followed you in your time as the clerk. And ultimately, it was a belief that the echo chamber in which you live couldn't be wrong, among other things, that led you to do what you did here. This thought process, unfortunately, seems to consume so many in our country, regardless of race, gender, political affiliation, or the like, that what it is we hear and think can't possibly be wrong. There are many things in my mind that are crystal clear about this case. You are no hero, you abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. In your world, it's all about you. But at bottom, this case was about your corrupt conduct and how no one is above the law. No one in this country has absolute power. Your position as a clerk and recorder, a constitutional position, does not provide you with a means by which to do your own investigation, to not listen to the judiciary, to not listen to the executives higher than you, to not listen to the legislature who sets the law as it may be. This is nonsense. Our system of government can't function when people in government think that somehow, some way, the power they've been given is absolute in all respects. And that's where you fell. You have no respect for the checks and balances of government. You have no respect for this court. You have no respect for law enforcement. And you do not have respect for your fellow colleagues when you were a clerk and recorder who weren't lockstep in your beliefs. Period. Indeed, just weeks before trial, you were apparently doing what I mentioned earlier, that is, over at the clerk and recorder's office where you're not supposed to be, violating the protection order by speaking to employees of that entity with your camera crew in tow.
Not good.
You have no qualms with violating the court's orders because you're innocent, because you didn't do anything wrong. You were just doing your job. You have no problem trying to kick an officer. Your explanation about what happened is preposterous. It's on video. You have no problem lying to officers. It's happened multiple times. They're recorded conversations. It's just more lies. No objective person believes them. No, at the end of the day, you cared about the jets, the podcasts, and the people fawning over you. You abdicated your position as a servant to the Constitution, and you chose you over all else. Yes, you are a charlatan, and you cannot help but lie as easy it is for you to breathe. You betrayed your oath for no one other than you. And this is what makes Ms. Peters such a danger to our community. It's the position she held that has provided her the pulpit from which she can preach these lies. The undermining of our democratic process, the undermining of the belief and confidence in our election systems. It's not about questioning it. No one says you can't question, you can't ask. It's completely different. And if you don't understand that distinction, then there's nothing I can say or do here today that will change your mind. So the damage that is caused and continue to be caused is just as bad, if not worse, than the physical violence that this court sees on an all too regular basis. And it's particularly damaging when those words come from someone who holds a position of influence like you. Every effort to undermine the integrity of our elections and public's trust in our institutions has been made by you. You've done it from that lectern the voting public provided you with. Everything you've done has been done to retain control, influence. The damage is immeasurable. And every time it gets refuted, every time it's shown to be false, just another tale is weaved.
Yep, from one thing to the next.
So I'll begin by saying I've considered all of those purposes of a stay of an execution of a sentence. I've mentioned all of them here generally in my comments already, and I find that a stay of any sentence I impose would be wholly unwarranted. All cases have a possibility of reversal on appeal, no doubt. I'm at peace with all of the decisions I've made here. If anything, I gave you and your counsel far too much leeway at times, but the rulings I made came after much consideration, incredible amounts of internal debate, and I trust in accordance with the applicable law. I consider the sentence here, in this case, what are available to me. Probation. Community corrections wasn't requested, but it wouldn't be an option in any event, and an incarcerative sentence to the Department of Corrections. Probation's focus is rehabilitation. That is for folks who have minimal criminal histories, low LSI scores like you, Ms. Peters, but where punishment isn't really on the table. It's about putting someone back in the community who's not at risk and giving them a chance to correct those things that brought them before me in the first place. Community corrections, which again isn't available, but nevertheless I'll mention, is another option that I could still order. It's much more stringent than probation, but it's not prison. And it's for folks who have even higher needs. Again, drug addicts, alcohol abusers, and the like. And prison is for those folks where we send people who are a danger to all of us. Whether it be by the pen or the sword or the word of the mouth. Prison is where folks go, where punishment is what we're focused on, because the crime committed is so significant that anything less would unduly mitigate the seriousness of the same. I mentioned before there are no mental health concerns. There's no good reason why you're here, Ms. Peters, other than these are all the active decisions that you made that cost our county significantly, but also more importantly, cost you greatly, Mr. Wood, all the members of the county who worked and trusted you when you asked them to do things that they did on your behalf. It's part of your lies. The expense, the toll, is immeasurable. So putting you on probation when you have zero needs that would be met by probation is the very definition of unduly depreciating the significance of what it is that you've done here, the harm that you've caused our community and continue to cause. Community corrections is the same. So prison is the only place that duly meets the purposes of sentencing in this matter. And therefore, the sentence and judgment of the court is as follows. As to counts 1 and 4, the judgment and sentence of the court is 3.5 years in the Department of Corrections. Those sentences will be concurrent to each other. As to count 2, the judgment and sentence of the court is 3.5 years consecutive to counts 1 and 4.
Oof.
As it relates to the misdemeanor charges, count 8 is 120 days in the Mesa County Detention Facility, concurrent to count 9 and 10, which will be 6 months in the Mesa County Detention Facility, consecutive to prison sentence. The reason those sentences are consecutive is because those sentences are, as the prosecution stated, directly related to what it is that you did here in our community, the damage you caused this community, the breach of your oath to the electorate in Mesa County. Your sentence will be followed by 3 years of parole. You have 2 days of pre-sentence confinement credit. Anything I missed? Anything else we need to address?
Judge, I think you missed sentencing on count 6.
Oh, I'm sorry. Count 6 is criminal impersonation. That's also consecutive. That's 15 months to the Department of Corrections. So it's 8.5 years total, plus the 6 months for a total of 9 years of incarceration.
And I think the only other thing is the cost of prosecution, Your Honor.
Is there an objection to the cost of prosecution, Mr. Case? We can set it for hearing if you need to.
Well,
If you need to have time to respond to it, I can give you that as well.
yeah, we do, because we don't understand how that was calculated.
Very well. I'll give you 21 days to file an objection to the cost of prosecution. You can consult that with the prosecutor. If there's an objection, we'll set it for hearing. Nothing else. Mr. Case, anything else?
Yes, Your Honor. We have a motion previously filed for a stay, which I believe
I just denied that.
was pursuant to Rule 8.1.
You want her to remain? I already told you in my written order what that pertains to. You want her to? She's going to remain in the MCDF for the next 6 months, less good time and earn time already. Your motion, that rule you're citing to, isn't a stay of the sentence per se. It allows her to stay in the local jail for up to 60 days. And I'm happy to grant that, but she's already going to be doing it because they're going to take her. I think they're going to take her to. They're going to keep her here, and then they're going to take her to prison.
Well,
Wait, did he just mix that up? I'm making a lot of extrapolations here because I'm not even familiar with a lot of these rules. But it sounds like he filed a motion saying that, like, we're trying, like, according to this rule of whatever, we should get to stay the sentence, which means that you're basically putting it off or you're not executing it yet, right? Like, he stayed the order from the court, meaning the court order didn't go through. But it sounds like whatever he was citing to just said, well, they're allowed to stay in the county jail instead of staying in like a prison or whatever, which it's not the same type of stay, I think. Right? But I don't know if that's really the mistake that was just made. But after watching all these Trump lawyers, I don't even know if these people did law school. If there's like some alternative like type of legal shit, I have no idea.
They're going to take her to, they're going to keep her here, and then they're going to take her to prison.
well, we filed our consent of surety to bond on appeal. And
Right.
we're asking simply that you allow her to remain under the conditions of that bond until we can get the Court of Appeals to rule on whether she should have bond during the appeal.
No.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have one other thing, and that is I need to file an exhibit that I did not previously provide because it's under seal from the D.C. court. It's an October 4th internal email from Dominion. It relates to Mr. Frontera. So I wanted to advise the court that I'll be filing that under seal to complete the record.
Okay.
And that it should be kept under seal. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. We're adjourned.
Okay. Okay, 2 more quick things and then
By the people is very much in line.
I need to set our shit up for tonight. What is this?
Okay. So if Donald Trump believes that is the situation and he is doing the prudent thing, he's not an authoritarian, he's delusional.
Okay.
Why do people keep saying this? That is an even you can be a delusional authoritarian. Like the idea that Donald Trump wants to coup the government, but he thinks there's a really good reason to do it, that still makes it a coup. What are you talking about?
There's a difference.
Hitler was an authoritarian because he actually thought the Jews were coming after them, right? Yes.
I'm not going to litigate World War II, whether or not Hitler was delusional to make your point. That's like bad faith. That's bad faith.
It's not because it's not bad faith at all. You're saying that just because they believe it's happening, that it's no longer authoritarian.
That's true. Tom is fair.
Sorry, Sitch.
What happened?
He's making a bad faith argument. I'm not going to.
No. Wait. This is not a bad faith argument.
It is a total bad.
No. Hold on.
I'm not here to litigate.
No.
Would you then say that not all coups are bad, but that Trump did not rise to the what? A coup is just a coup. It's not a coup or a revolution or a revolt. It's not necessarily a bad or a good thing. I mean, I guess it's bad to the system itself. But I mean, like, how could I possibly say that all coups or all insurrections or all revolutions are bad when one, that's a history of like so many different countries, including my own. That's where my country came from. Do I think that the insurrection of the colonists against the British, that the United States, Revolutionary War or the colonists' Revolutionary War was a bad thing? Like what?
No, wait. Okay, this is what you do have to litigate, right? You're basically making the argument that delusion is a defense against everything.
Yeah, which is bullshit. That's such a crazy. That's so crazy.
In terms of negative intention or being labeled as an authoritarian. That is the argument that you're making.
It's not.
Well, okay, so you agree that someone
you agree that there's a difference between someone who's delusional and someone who's authoritarian, right?
Non-responsive, doesn't matter. There's a difference between someone who's delusional and authoritarian. These have nothing to. That's like saying you understand that some people like could be tall or they could be they could be Americans, right? Like these two properties have nothing to do with each other.
This person could,
like the Mad King in Got. Okay, I'm pretty sure he was delusional or crazy, but he was also an authoritarian, right?
Someone who's delusional and someone who's authoritarian, right? This person could be the nicest person in the world. If they're delusional.
Hold on. Being nice has nothing to do with being an authoritarian or being delusional. Are we just throwing out random random like classifications or ontological categories? Or what are we going to say next?
And acting on a delusion, they're not an authoritarian. They're doing the right thing. Authoritarian, right? This person could be the nicest person in the world. If they're delusional and acting on a delusion, they're not an authoritarian. They're doing the right thing.
What an unbelievably stupid statement.
You literally agree with what he said.
No, hold on. Are you saying that someone who suffers from a delusion cannot be authoritarian? Because that's what you're saying.
That's literally what you're saying, though. Wait, what? Remember, if you're in an argument and your opponent can't summarize your position, even though they're trying to in good faith over and over and over again, that's because you're being a weasel fuck.
I am not.
So give me an example of someone who is delusional and authoritarian by your definitions of these words.
Well, I can't because I just created this whole special category of thing just for Donald Trump to not be guilty of anything bad.
That's not my argument.
That is your. That's the question. Is that you're saying Donald Trump is not authoritarian because he's delusional.
Someone who is an authoritarian is acting imprudently. They know that they're acting imprudently.
People can act as authoritarians or revolutionaries and be acting in incredibly prudent ways, or they think they are. A lot of these people are probably heavily ideologically driven. They think they're doing the right thing. Or at least the right thing for a certain group of people.
They know that they lost the election, and they don't give a fuck. They're like, fuck the system, fuck the rules. It doesn't matter. I'm an authoritarian. I am the law. I am the state. That's an authoritarian. Do you agree?
So I don't agree. No. Authoritarian is just someone who doesn't have respect for the laws, the Constitution, and was willing to sacrifice all those things in favor of what they want or believe.
Okay,
that's close, right? I would say authoritarian is probably somebody who wants to centralize power in a single branch or a single figure, and they're willing to shirk the checks and balances to move past any kind of like controlling forces, right? They're an authoritarian. They want to do like a single person or single party rule. They don't need. This usually also stands in high contrast to things like liberal values, right? You don't want like freedom of speech, freedom of the press, any of these things. Usually this all kind of go hand in hand, but it's close enough. What he's saying, yeah.
We're using completely different definitions of authoritarian.
Yeah, but so again, as I asked you, under your definition, you are saying that someone cannot be delusional and authoritarian.
He's just going to say no. He's going to disagree with every single thing that Sitch says because he feels like if he agrees with anything, he's walking into a trap because he realizes what he's saying is stupid. I don't know. Never mind. Maybe he'll agree. Maybe he'll say yes.
Someone can be delusional and authoritarian, obviously.
Okay. Okay. So he says yes. Wait. So then why isn't Trump delusional and authoritarian?
Mostly.
So give me an example. So what does that look like?
Saddam Hussein mistakenly executes 50 of the wrong people because he thinks they're conspiring against him because he.
Is that what he thinks these are about? That they really genuinely think they were being conspired against him and that's why they executed them? Or was it a show of force or a show of power or a show of I can do whatever the fuck I want because I'm the fucking leader and if I even think you're looking at me wrong, you will be fucking executed?
He's delusional.
Okay, but fuck, let's say that Saddam Hussein was delusional and an authoritarian. What's the difference then between that and Trump?
Why is that authoritarian?
Because he is the law. He can do whatever he wants.
Okay,
but what part of that? So the authoritarian part is the executing the people without trial? Is that the authoritarian part? I'm trying to ask you. I'm trying to figure out this distinction here.
Adam can't engage too much with this because he realizes this is like logically it's indefensible. Like by the logically, whatever syllogism or whatever formal logic he lays out, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking absurd. Like there's no way that any of this is going to be consistent if he starts to plug Trump into any of these premises.
Look, I'm done with this. Okay.
This is an abuser tactic, by the way. If you've got a partner and every single time you're approaching something that you have a fundamental disagreement on and they either start crying or they tell you they're done with the argument, whenever you're hitting on something that you know that they won't concede or that you feel like you want to discuss and they won't, that's an abuser 101 tactic.
Okay.
I'm literally done with you.
Okay.
And he fucking quits.
So now what?
All right, last thing. Anything else? True. That's what he should have said. Fuck.
I could have... Fuck! I knew it! I fucking knew it! I 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 knew it! Fuck! 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 Oh, come on! I should have gone with it! Oh... Damn it!
Okay. All right. I love you guys. Hopefully, I'll see you in an hour and 20 minutes. Anything else? Be careful. We'll have All Relevant and we'll have Darius tonight. Oh boy. Wait, hold on. Quick code review time. If I stop recording, will it move this script? Is the current one working? Show recordings. Okay, click. Stop recording. Oh my goodness. Brilliant. It moved. Wait, do MP4s really show that they're 0 kilobytes large until you close the file on OBS? Is that really how MP4s work? Does Windows even see that the file is being written to? Where's all that data being stored? It can't all be stored in RAM, right? No, that would be insane. Because that file was 0 kilobytes until I clicked stop. Unless it's writing it to a temporary file. Does Windows know that that file is even being written to then? Like, I'm just thinking of that Lycan script. Or would it just read that the file size hasn't changed in 30 seconds, so it must be done being edited? I don't know why I'm asking this. I don't know why I didn't even think I could Google this. Okay. All right. Whatever. This worked. Don't care. I'll be back tomorrow. Stay safe. Or not tomorrow. Tonight. I love you. Be careful.